Listen up, real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and agents. You're in the right place. Unlocking the secrets to real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Welcome to the Titanium Vault, hosted by RJ Bates III. Here's RJ.
We're excited to have Jeremy Rubin with us today. Jeremy, how are you doing?
Doing great. RJ, how's it going?
It's going great, man. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do in real estate?
Well, I'm Jeremy Rubin, and they call me the Friendly Flipper. And I've been flipping houses, wholesaling, and doing fix and flips for almost 4 years now. And went full-time January 2016, left my 9-to-5 to pursue house flipping full-time, and I've currently grown my business up to 1 flip per month. And I'm not stopping there. The goal is to get to 100 flips a year. So
that's awesome. So I'm assuming you got your start in wholesaling?
I did. I got my start in wholesaling. Got my first deal actually from a Craigslist ad. The title of the ad said, "Need to sell your home? I'm not an agent, ... And got a few calls, and after some negotiation and some blood, sweat, and tears, got my first deal.
That's awesome. And you're in the California market, right? What part of California are you in?
I'm on the Central Coast. We're about halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco, off the 101, and it's a town called Santa Maria.
Okay. So I was recently in California, and I'm based out of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. And one of the things that I learned about California is that it's a lot harder to be a wholesaler in California, because here we're allowed to do double closes and the pass-through. That's not allowed in California. Is that right?
Well, there are ways to do it, actually. I've done double closes here, so as well as assignments.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah,
So I'm like the double close advocate. That's just
yeah.
that's my preference. Just because I don't care if I'm making $1. You know, I just don't want my buyer to know how much I'm making. I feel like it just keeps the relationship better that way. And so it's interesting to hear that. I wasn't with a lot of wholesalers. I was with a lot of rehabbers. So it's interesting to hear someone say that you can do a double close. Do you have to use transactional funds to do a double close in California, or is there a way to do it with the pass through?
I just can speak from my experience. I know I've done it without using transactional funds. I
might have to start wholesaling to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, definitely.
You're teaching me something here about California. So my knowledge was incorrect. So how did you go from being a wholesaler to getting into the rehab game?
So took the first step, got my feet wet with doing the wholesale deal, and that basically gave me some money that I could start marketing with, because I was I had a good job from what I was making 80 grand a year to 90 grand a year, so decent. I wasn't struggling, but it was taking all my time, and I was really living paycheck to paycheck. Like that's the biggest thing, is like it took all my time, took all my freedom, and to do everything on their time, and then and was living paycheck to paycheck. So that first deal is where the first wholesale deal, I took that money. It was $6,500 that I made, and put that into marketing, put that into some paid marketing, and started sending out letters and postcards actually first. And that's where I got my first lead for a flip, was through that. There were some other wholesale deals in between, but that's what led to the first flip.
So coming off making the $6,500 off your first wholesale, what made you make the decision that you wanted to flip the next one instead of just wholesaling it like you did on the first deal?
It just depends on each deal. I look at each deal and going into it, look at what my exit strategy will be. After I did the first wholesale deal, I did a few more wholesales before I actually did a flip, and by that time, I mean, wholesaling's quick money. So if I can ever wholesale it and make a decent profit, the most I've made on one was 22,000. So, when I can do that, it's like it's so much quicker, faster, just selling a piece of paper, basically. And I'd almost rather do that. But then the opportunity came about to where I found one that was, everything was right as far as conditions for flipping it. I actually, and what I mean by saying conditions were right is I found a homeowner that was a tired landlord, didn't want to be a landlord anymore, but they owned the house free and clear, and they didn't need the money right away. So I set up seller financing where I paid them $792 a month and basically zero down, and just funded the rehab from what little savings I had, and maxed out some credit cards in the process. And that's how I kind of went from wholesaling to flipping.
I love those kind of stories when you hear the creativity that can come about within real estate investing, right? Like, you essentially found another real estate investor who was the tired landlord in this circumstance, and you were able to leverage his position, but also his ability to seller finance that to you to get you inside a deal and probably make that deal more profitable for you in the end. I love those kind of stories.
Yeah. There's so much. I love it too. There's so much you can do. There's so many ways you can play the real estate game.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that when you did your first flip?
So my first flip was 2.5 years ago.
Okay. So at what point in time did you become the friendly flipper?
That's actually very recent. That actually is just came about after GrowthCon 2017, Grant Cardone's GrowthCon in Miami in March. Really just opened my eyes to the possibilities of where I could take this if I became the face of my business, as opposed to just Jeremy that flips houses like every other guy that flips houses. So that's actually just barely 6 months old, barely getting to the second 90-day cycle of just, working hard, assessing where you're at in 90 days. So that's all there.
I mean, you're all over social media. I mean, that's how you and I met. I saw your friendly flipper. You've got the daily, I guess, what'd you call them? Slogs?
The slog. Yeah, the daily.
Yeah. And I mean, you're all over it. I mean, you're posting videos. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I watch them just because they're funny. I mean, you're a pretty hilarious guy, but it has to be growing some kind of brand for you in your market. Do you see that happening?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm just glad someone besides me finds the stuff I do entertaining, because I enjoy watching them back.
So do you see like your brand growing in your market because of it, or is it more just on social media?
It's both. It's both. It's funny. Definitely social media, because the reach is just so much. There's people from all over on there, so there's that. But then also, even locally, I've gotten more leads now. Gotten some real estate agents reaching out to me, sending me deals that they come across, that just because I'm top of their mind now. It's just because I'm in their face, but not in like a pushy way, but just, hey, I'm just happen to be there offering some value, hopefully some entertainment. And then and through that, I've gotten just more connected to more people and more opportunities.
Right. I could see that because, just to get you as a guest on here on my podcast, it's like I want to be able to essentially tag on to the brand name that you've built for yourself, right? I want to be able to say, hey, I had the friendly flipper on here. Just like as an agent, I would want to say, if I were in your market, hey, I listed this house or I sold a house to the friendly flipper, especially if you're getting your name out there the way that you are. And I've seen it. I can't remember the exact way that I found you on Facebook, but it was someone sharing your video, and I don't remember who it was, but someone shared your video, and I'm like, who is this guy? I mean, he's hilarious, and it was really like your first or second daily video that you do for the flip that you're doing right now, but it immediately caught my attention, and I'm like, that's so different than, I don't see very many people that are taking the time to try to build their own personal brand like that within real estate investing. So I thought it was very creative, and I was curious how much traction that was getting, as far as on the real estate side outside of just social media.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been positive. I've gotten even agents that we haven't spoken in a while. It kind of just, it's like, oh, hey, he's active, he's still doing, just kind of, showing what I'm doing has brought even some agents that we haven't spoken in a while. They've called me and like, hey, so let's find the house, and I'm like, yeah, let's find the house, let's go.
Right. So I'll share a story with you. It was the first video I ever watched was the one where you were inside Home Depot and you asked the clerk, or you asked her, I need 10 followers on Snapchat every day. And then you said, I need you to do this. And that was where then you shared out in the parking lot. You said, when I found out that when I ask people that I need to do this, that they tend to want to do it because they want to solve your problem. And it's funny because I came back and I actually shared that with my entire team where I'm like, hey, I don't know, this guy could be full of it, but it actually resonated with me where it was like, I actually do see that across people, right? It's a natural human tendency that you want to fulfill someone's need if they bring that to you. So is that actually something that you see happening? Because you're trying to get 10 followers on Snapchat every day, right?
That's right, yeah. Friendly Flipper on Snapchat.
So are you seeing that or do you now go to everybody and say, I need you to do this? Or do you still say, hey, can you do this for me?
No, absolutely. I've absolutely just adopted the I need now. That's like 100% that's my best pitch basically for that. And it's funny because it all came about just because of like, a social experiment, but it's like, oh man, it was a really cool lesson to kind of observe and learn, but that's now been my go-to because I have a much better close rate, if you will, with that saying I need. So that's really cool too that resonated with you and that you shared that with your team, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely, and that's the power of social media, right? Yeah, I mean, you didn't even know that I saw that or shared it with everybody. I'm in here, carrying around my cell phone saying, hey, look at this guy. I mean, yeah, he's kind of crazy, but we'll watch this moment. Like, well, this is cool, right? And that's the power of social media. And I love seeing people utilizing that power of social media into the industry that they're in, whether or not it's real estate investing or any kind of, entrepreneur journey that you're on. We have the greatest tool on our fingertips at all times. It's on our cell phones, it's on our computers, which are pretty much always with us, and you can truly grow your business just with the power of social media. So I applaud you for everything that you've done so far on social media, and I can't wait to continue to watch your journey as the Friendly Flipper.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the support you've shown me.
Yeah. So at this point in time, getting back to the real estate stuff, how many flips do you think you've finished from start to finish?
Start to finish, I'm on just finished number 11, actually, from renovation, fix and flip perspective. And then I've got, I think, total under contract right now. I've got 3 more under contract in the queue, ready to go. So I'm trending up to basically 1 a month right now because the majority of these actually, I got my first deal, got my second deal about 8 months later, my third deal about 4 or 5 months after that, and then last year, after I left my 9 to 5, went on a vacation in the summer or early summer, came back May 1st and just hammered the marketing more than I ever had before, and ended up getting 6 homes under contract in 4 months, and then it really took off from there. So now I'm doing basically 1 a month, but the majority of them just really, it was like an exponential curve, basically. Like once I had the breakthrough of the first one, then it was about half that time to get the second one, and then about, half that time to get, 6 more once I was like, okay, so this is what works. It's really about just as much outflow as you can, just as much, the more, it's just totally a numbers game. And I kind of had to prove that to myself. And I think that, I could have ramped up quicker had I realized how much it actually takes, how much marketing and prospecting it actually takes. It really does take like 10 times more than what you think it'll take to get deals. But that's the thing. Like it does happen. It's just a matter of numbers and just
right.
making opportunities. So
yeah, I mean, marketing is all about consistency, right? I mean, everybody I talk to that is successful in business, that's the main thing that I take away from everybody is, it's all about consistency, and you're always putting your brand in front of your potential client. So when you say you're ramping up marketing, is it all direct mail, or are you using any other kinds of marketing?
Direct mail, and then in addition to that, though, Craigslist ads, a new Craigslist ad every day of the week, so 7 days a week, posting on there, just we buy houses ads, basically, that don't look too corporate or too big business. I don't even use graphics. I just write a text. I just want to look like, hey, I'm Jeremy. You have a house for sale. Let's talk, and I'll see if I can buy it from you. So I got a few deals off that. Driving for dollars, just in the neighborhood, found one pretty recently here that was a landlord, and he was trying to go the for sale by owner route, and I was like, hey, let's make this easy. You don't have to do anything. Like, let me take this off your hands, and that ended up working out.
So on that one, real quick, when you're driving for dollars and you see a good potential property, how did you find the landlord? How did you come into contact with him?
Sure. On that particular one, it was a slam dunk. I mean, he was there. He was actually putting a for sale by owner sign out at that time.
Oh, wow.
That was easy. Like, so I just basically saw it and stopped by. But when my typical process, though, because that doesn't usually happen at that point, my typical process is to either go on to, if you have a real estate agent that you're working with, that's helpful, because basically you need to get the tax address. So I use RealQuest. I have access to RealQuest. It's a CoreLogic company. Anyone can, any real estate investor can get access to that, and then that is how you can get the tax address. But also, if you have a working relationship with a real estate agent, they can pull it up through MLS too. And you can even use a title company. Actually, I've got my partner, real estate agent buddy down in Southern California. He's got access through a title company. So there are a few ways that you can obtain basically access to a search system, and what you're looking for is not the property address, but the owner's the tax address where the owner receives their mail.
Right. So are you, once you get that information, are you then mailing to them, or are you trying to find their phone number and call them?
I have not tried the phone number. I just mail them. I've just put them on my list. I know some people go that route, but I have not yet done that. I basically just send them put them on my list, and then we send a series of a letter, and then 30 days later a postcard, 30 days later a letter, 30 days later a postcard, for 6 months. And some of them call.
So you hit them once a month, so you're hitting them 6 times with different mailers?
Yes. Yeah, once a month.
Gotcha. Just
to stay, be that first person that they think of. If within that 6 months they decide it's time to sell, I want to be that one that they call.
Gotcha. So I know one of the things, another aspect of your business that you're working on is the Friendly Flipper Academy. So why don't you share a little bit about that and what that is that you're creating?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Friendly Flipper Academy, this is also a result of attending GrowthCon. So I mean, I can't encourage people enough to go to events that will spark new thoughts and encourage you to grow your business and things, because they can be a fantastic catalyst. So in going there, I then learned of this gentleman named Brad Lee, who owns this training platform, Lightspeed VT, which is, the way I like to put it into just a basic analogy, is it's the YouTube of virtual training. So it's the platform, and then myself or anyone who has a course would be like the content creator, the video creator, and then it goes on that platform. So in hearing everyone talk, all the different speakers at 10X, I kind of pulled from so many of them, just different things. I mean, like the Friendly Flipper name itself was inspired by a speaker, and then like the training aspect, was inspired by another speaker, and then there's Hank Norman, gentleman who media coach. He's basically the one who said, get in front of people, go live. He told everyone to get out their phone, go live right now, tell the world what you do. And some of the people in the audience did it and some people didn't. And I was one of the people that didn't, and I chickened out. But I came home, went live on my next flip walkthrough that I just completed, and the response was really great. So that led to further communication with Hank, actually just me thanking him for just telling me to go live, to press record. That's his thing, press record, like, because that's really what sparked the whole social media growth. It was from that. So then started working with him as my mentor, and he asked me what was my 10X goal, and it was to get my company to 100 flips per year. And he said, that's great, but that's not a 10X goal. And I was like, okay. And so that kind of hit me. And during that same time, I had started communicating with actually one of the sales reps from Lightspeed, Eddie Martin, reached out to me just as a he was like saying, hey dude, I see you're getting a lot of people requesting on Facebook, and I'm getting some spammers that are you seem to be the only mutual friend. And I'm like, this is the first time I've ever had any friends on Facebook other than high school friends. So I'm just like pretty much accepting any request that comes through. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, come on in. And he's like, no, I think you might want to kind of filter through a little more, because a lot of these spammers, you're the only mutual friend. And I didn't get it. And then he messaged me a few days later, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about, because I really don't have much. All my social media experiences within the last 6 months, like other than posting on Facebook like a couple times a year. Wow,
that's hilarious, because like everything that you just shared right now, like what you've put out in the past 6 months, you would never believe that you don't have social media experience, and that you weren't one of the people that went live at the 10X conference. So obviously that resonated with you, and you made drastic changes. If you don't mind me asking, what drew you to go to the 10X conference in the first place?
Well, I was listening. I've only known of Grant Cardone for just over a year, in fact, which may also be kind of surprising. But my mentor, my real estate mentor, Justin Williams, of all my real estate mentors, he's the one that I absolutely learned the most from. He had a podcast, and he interviewed Grant Cardone on this podcast. And I'd never heard the dude before, never heard of him, but like his mentality was just like resonated with me, like, holy cow, like Like I'd never heard someone like take that approach, like of just like if you're not living up to your full potential, you're that's like you're shortchanging yourself and everybody else. And like that was super impactful, and like to have like I guess just see someone working so hard towards something, and so that got me like onto the 10x rule. So then I went and I listened to the audiobook, and it was like, oh man, dude, this is the dude right here. Like I need to start following this guy. Like and so January the ads, you know, I got in Grant's funnel somehow. I'm sure
right.
by clicking this or that, and then the ads started popping up for GrowthCon, and I didn't really have any idea what to expect. I'd never been to any Tony Robbins like thing or any other like big conference like that. So this was like I didn't know what to expect, but I just knew like from Grant's content, like the little of that I'd seen of it, I was like, I got to go to this. Like, I got to see what, this is all about. So bought the ticket, and, man, I think that was the best decision I've ever made in my adult life. Like that one, like just to be like, let's see what happens. Cause I didn't really know what would come of it. I just knew that going like good stuff would come of it. I couldn't say what though, but
right.
Yeah.
Well, to say that it was life-changing for you, I mean, it sounds like it very much was. It completely changed your mentality on everything, and it's literally built your brand in the past 6 months at this point in time from going to that one conference. That's pretty amazing testimonial to the conference itself.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. If people take advantage of what's at these conferences and they take notes and you apply what the people are teaching you. I mean, there's so much value. Like there's so much value. I mean, I can only speak really to GrowthCon, and I just attended Driven 17, Albert Preciado's event, and Grant was there and Bradley, and again, ton of value. So like, I would say like, man, anyone that wants to grow, you have to just kind of have some faith that you're not exactly even sure. Like you won't know in which ways you're going to grow, but you need to start putting yourself in environments where there's other people that are successful and that are growing, and that you can learn from.
Right. And you also say that you worked with Justin Williams, it was?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say great things about him, and you were in his mentor program.
Yes, yeah. Justin Williams is the man. I spent thousands of hours on YouTube, like filtering through different real estate investing videos and house flipping and wholesaling, like to figure out how to actually do it. And then for about a year, and then I came upon his training course. First, actually, his podcast. He did a podcast on called House Flipping HQ on YouTube, which is awesome. Resource, but of all the videos and everything I was listening to, his information was like correct, like down, like checked every box, because there's a lot of good info out there, a lot of bad info, but his was like, I learned enough from I gathered enough from seeing, enough other videos of, what works and kind of what doesn't, but he was a dude here in California, actively flipping, so not like a guru guy, like that's, just preaching it.
Right.
And, just solid individual. So, had no reservations about signing up, and doing his coaching program. And that's when I got basically like a glimpse into, I had understood the basics of flipping, but then it was like, okay, so this guy, he's got an actual business. It's not just like a hobby on the side, like flip a house here and there. It's like, okay, so there's things you put in place to structure it like a business, and actually really it has to be a business. Otherwise it's just a hobby. So like I kind of, it made me take that next leap of, okay, I'm really like serious about this now. Like I've seen that it works with one or two here and there, but now it's like time to grow this into an actual business.
Right. All right, Jeremy. So I always end each interview by trying to pull out of someone what is their why. Why do you do this? Because I feel like as an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, it's important for us to share to people because, like you said, how did you find Justin, right? You listened to his podcast.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important for the people that are inside the business, and we're sharing our knowledge and experiences, but it's also important for us to share our why. So why do you do everything that you do for your business?
So I do it, first and foremost, what got me into flipping houses was for freedom, for financial freedom, lifestyle freedom, not having to be able to do what I want when I want. That was what got me so motivated and driven to figure out a way to get out of the 9-to-5. But then, and the next thing kind of leads back into the bigger purpose when, Hank Norman told me, 100 flips a year, that's great. That's what you should be doing, but that's not a 10X goal. So that's when my mindset changed again as a result of GrowthCon from a, how much can I earn, as opposed to my new mentality was, how much it was all about delivering value and over-delivering value and just delivering an abundance of value. Because I saw Justin Williams had done just that, like with his, free podcast that basically laid everything out. But I was so willing to, learn more, after seeing that, going with his coaching program was not even a question. So the bigger purpose now is to teach other people how to do the same thing and basically to start flipping lives. And that's how I can give back, of everything I know, I realize that's how I can give back the most value to the world and society, is to now show people, okay, I figured out a way to escape my 9-to-5. If that's what you want to do, if it's not for you, then here, I can show you how to do it. And so flipping 100 lives in the next year, basically creating 100 new flippers, that's the new purpose. So the new why is, it's freedom for me, but it's also, man, I can actually make the world a better place and make other people's lives and families have better lives by, showing them the path to house flipping. So that's the why, and that's kind of how Friendly Flipper Academy all came about.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? You go to a conference that changes your life so much that your why changes to you want to change other people's lives.
Yeah.
That right there sums up being an entrepreneur better than I can ever put it. I mean, that's why I do it. Just like you said, offering free content. I mean, that's what the Titanium Vault is. I mean, I don't see this ever being an income-producing show, but it's an opportunity for people to listen to us, share our stories, and hopefully, if there's one person out there that takes anything from this interview and they go out and they just start looking into real estate investing because they heard this, then that's amazing. That to me is why we do this. So for anybody that's out there that's listening and they want to contact you, what's the best way they can contact you?
So best way to contact me, my email is thefriendlyflipper@gmail.com, thefriendlyflipper. I'm all over social media as The Friendly Flipper or Friendly Flipper. Snapchat, Friendly Flipper. And we have a free gift, actually, for anyone who is interested today. Shall we tell them about that?
Yes, we should.
All right. Cool. So the free gift is I've got the letter that I send out to prospective sellers, so basically tired landlords or people who I want to buy their house. The actual letter I send out, you can get for free. All you got to do is text the word FLIP, F-L-I-P, to 96,000. So it's F-L-I-P to 96000. And you'll get that letter free. You'll also get a little driving for dollars tutorial that shows you what I look for when I'm driving through neighborhoods, and a little note sheet also to take notes. So you can actually, you have you'll be equipped with what you need to do or what you need to start sending letters if you wanted to do that even today.
I'm going to go sign up right now.
Awesome.
I'm going to get this weeks in advance before anybody else does. I'm going to be out there driving for dollars more than my acquisitions guys. It's going to be awesome.
There we go.
Friendly flipper style. All right, Jeremy. Thank you for sitting down with me, sharing your story. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, RJ. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Jeremy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks so much for listening to the Titanium Vault with your host, RJ Bates III. For more info and to stay up to date, visit www.podcast.thetitaniumvault.com and on facebook.com/The Titanium Vault. If you enjoyed the episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time on the Titanium Vault.